And so, my dear ones, here we are. We're in our last, believe it or not already, we're in our last Sunday of this month, April, the month of new beginnings. But it's a beautiful thing when you think about the fact that we are coming to the end of the month where a new beginning starts for all of our, our Muslim family in the global community. Ramadan started yesterday, and it's the most sacred and holy month of the year for our Muslim friends. And now they enter into a very deep retreat experience as they enter into their fasting and their deeper journey into the spiritual lives of themselves. And it's an amazing experience, and it's a real wonderful example to us all what this community is able to create during this month. Muslims fast from before dawn to after sunset, from food and drink, and not only from food and drink and water, they also abstain from smoking and gambling and gossiping and judgment of others and all the other activities that we can get ourselves into that lower our sense and sensibility of who and what we are, and that stop and block us from seeing the true essence of our being. And so I wish them all many blessings as they enter into this month, and I see the month as an example for us all to call us higher. And so during that time of this kind of retreat, the whole emphasis and thrust is on renewal and recovery and restoration and revolution and the journey of the spirit into that inner state of being. How wonderful is that? It always amazes me, and it's not just Muslims that have a time of fasting. It happens in all of the religions. For the Christians, it's the 40 days of Lent and so on. But I don't think anybody does it as thoroughly as our Muslim brethren do. And so I was thinking for us, maybe we could pick up the challenge as a new beginning and focus on maybe 3 things that we could release and let go of and fast from. And it's very simple, really. When I thought of that myself, I went back to the things we decided on in December, the 3 things we were all going to change our lives around, and that would be to do some small thing every day that would improve our lives greatly, and to never miss an opportunity to close our mouths, keep our mouths shut. That would take care of the gossip, etc. And then stop being offended. And that would take us out of the me's all the time and keep us centered in the I amness of our souls, our spirits. And so if anybody wants to join me in that, I would really invite it, and it will help raise the energy on the planet. The whole idea in Islam is, and we're all very ignorant of each other really, is to do good. It is written in the Quran that for every good deed that we participate in, we receive a 10-fold reward. But of course, those of us who are truly interested in spirituality are not doing anything for any sense of reward. And I have to say of my Muslim friends, and I have dear Muslim friends, they're like sisters and brothers to me, their lives are exemplary in this. They are always people I can call on for help of any kind, and they're always active in the community to meet the needs of others who are less fortunate, who find themselves in less fortunate circumstances and situations. So it is a beautiful month. We're entering into the month of May. It's also a month when, we're heralding in more summer-like experiences. And Mark wonderfully took care of where we're up to date with all this virus situation that we're all finding ourselves in, and we seem to be turning the corner in that. And as I say, every single day is a day nearer to us getting through it. And so we come back to the topic, which is fire, fire, fire. Ernest Holmes says there's great power in the universe. Indeed, there is, greater than we are, and we use it, and it uses us. He also says that this amazing, infinite, powerful intelligence is the light of our lives. He says, nay, it is the very fire. It is the very fire. It is the very fire. And so this is what helps our Muslim friends to get through this month and do it ably and well, is that fire of spirit that burns up in us, that fire in the belly, in the solar plexus, because it's not just a mental and it's not just an intellectual thing. It hits us too in our very bodily being, that fire. It's called the fire of conviction, the fire of purpose, the fire that drives us to accomplish and to succeed and achieve. And whatever it is, we've suddenly realized it's ours to do and it's ours to be. And that's what every retreat is calling us to pay attention to. What is mine to be? And what is mine to do in every new day, every given day of my life? What is mine to be and what is mine to do? And it is that power of the Holy Spirit that is talked about in the scriptures, especially at the Pentecostal experience of the disciples of Jesus, 40 days after Jesus is risen, and they have experienced him. We're told that it was as though, when they were in that upper room, it was though as if tongues of fire settled upon their heads. And all of a sudden, they were driven. They felt that fire in the belly that brought them to get up and get out there and do what they were invited to do. Go and tell all nations the message you have received. And what was the message? It was a message of love and togetherness, and we're all one. And they did. They went out and they spoke, and we are told they spoke with such vim, vigor, and zest and enthusiasm that they were overcome by something that everybody, regardless of language in the crowd, were able to understand what it was they were imparting to them. That's the fire. Do you think that fire is just meant for apostles and holy people and those special ones called to this, that, and the other? No. That fire is as much in the center core of your being and mine as it is, as it was, as it ever will be in anybody else's. And so that's what needs to happen for us now, especially. This is the perfect time for us to get the giddy on. This is the perfect time for us to allow ourselves to feel that fire. That white fire of life and light and love and peace and beauty and power and joy and goodness and kindness and compassion and everything that's whole and wholesome. That's the fire. And it's within you and it's within me, and it doesn't matter what our lives have been like until now. It has never, ever been diminished in the slightest. But when we slumber, when we fall asleep, when we're not mindful, when we're not tuned in, when we're not connected, it looks as though it's not present. But it is present. What's not present is you and me. We're not present to it. And so that's what the illusion is. It may be in him, it may be in her, but it passed over me somehow. No, it didn't. So today's invitation is to allow that light of fire, the fire of what? The one thing only, the fire of purpose. Everybody's looking for their purpose. Have you come across so many people who are looking everywhere to find their purpose? Not only the kids in college who still don't know what they want to be when they grow up, but lots of people, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? And it's all the time within us. And indeed, not only looking at us, it's looking from within us. And there is only one purpose, and that is that we love one another. It's love. Who knew? That's the purpose of everything and everyone. To love and be loved. To be loved wherever we are. And if you are love, you attract love. That's just how life works. Because life is nothing but the outcome of thought. Thought is the most powerful energy in all that is. Thought is the most powerful energy because it gives birth to everything else that arises. The power of the mind, which is the channel for consciousness, pure consciousness, cosmic consciousness, infinite consciousness. It's the channel for that. And you and I can channel that, which is love. Now, how are we ever going to be able to meet ourselves at that level of awareness and be who we are in truth? I think one good place to begin is to forgive ourselves, to forgive ourselves. And to forgive ourselves for every single mistake we have ever made. And not only that, but to stop punishing ourselves, punishing others, and punishing circumstances for all the wrongs that is experienced in life and living. To stop doing that. To forgive. To let go of all of the angst around non-forgiveness. It's killing us. It's eating away at our fire. In the sense that it keeps us from discovering that fire in the belly, which comes from, of course, consciousness. Don't you want to feel fully alive to your living? Don't you really want to do that? You may say, well, in this day and age, it's very hard to do that. Look what we're content. Yes, this is the very, very time when you and I need to be fired up, as Mark was reminding us. Fire it up. Fire it up. Bring on the heat. Bring on the heat. We have an example of that this week. In Redondo Beach, we are having a hot time of it. So, if it's going to be, it's up to you and me. If not you, if not me, who? If not now, when? You see, we're always going to come back to those two questions. If not me, who? If not now, when? Always, those questions are going to miter us until we get it. Yes, I am the one that needs to wake up, nobody else. I am the one that needs to wake up. There's a lovely, lovely story about love and how love can be. And how we forgive ourselves too is by blessing. We bless everything and everyone. And even in the beginning, if I have to bless somebody through gritted teeth, that's what I'm going to do until there's no gritted teeth anymore. We have to bless and bless and bless and bless ourselves and others and all life. That's how we experience forgiveness. That's how we experience. But listen, don't take my word for it, and don't take anybody's word for anything until you test out the theories, because what you're hearing is just a theory. You have to test it out. You have to put it to the test. Put me to the test, even Scripture says. Put me to the test and see if I will not open the portals of heaven and pour out so many blessings you won't be even able to contend with them. So blessing is the answer, the power of blessing. So this lady had been in a marriage for 20 years that was hell on earth. But during it all, she was managing to somehow or another grow spiritually. But after 20 years, she'd had more than enough of it, and that was it. It ended in divorce. So she went about her business and discovered she was extremely happy, happier than she'd ever been before, as she got on with her work now in the humanitarian field. And she had made a promise to herself that never again was she interested in the opposite sex as far as any kind of relationship, far less permanent relationship, was concerned. She'd been there, she'd done that, and that was the end of it for her. And so time went on. And then one of her colleagues was on the very same page with her with regard to humanitarian purposes and so on, and also on a spiritual path. They had good conversations. So eventually one day he said to her, he said, "Are you interested in having dinner? Because we could continue the conversation we've been having, and it might be, it might be a pleasant thing to do." And she thought about it for a while, and she said, "Yeah, sure. That's fine," because she loved to have those kinds of engagements with anybody. So they had this lovely dinner in a small mountain apartment overlooking a beautiful lake, and they had a great time. They chatted the night away, and when she was on her way home, she thought, "Oh my God, that's terrific. That was great. I really enjoyed that conversation. And isn't he such an amazing guy? That man is an amazing fellow. He's an amazing soul. Now, I hope for him that he's going to meet a beautiful lady somewhere along the line and be very happy in that regard." And so she just blessed the woman, whoever it would be, and so on and so forth. And then you know how prayers are answered. Well, several months later, on a mountainside, surrounded by all kinds of beauty, that same man put a ring on her finger and clenched the commitment to be there for her for the rest of their lives. And the real kicker of the story is this. While she had been blessing another woman for this man, he had made up his mind that it would be a good thing to find a woman who had had a good woman who had had a miserable experience in marriage, and to be able to help her to heal of that and to experience what real love could be all about. They both had a desire. They both had a wish, and both of them had their wish answered in a way neither of them knew. You see, a blessing going out always comes back, always returns to you, pressed down and spilling over. So it behooves us to bless and to bless and to bless and to bless. And when we bless, we start automatically loving and loving and loving and loving. What we bless becomes something or someone that we can love. And that's what the world needs right now. You and me to be our blessed selves. You and me to be the best of ourselves. You and me to have that fire, that light moving through us regardless. You're not going to feel it every day, and neither am I. But at the same time, when I'm not feeling it, I am knowing and telling myself it's there. It's there. It's as strong and as raging as ever. It's there. It's just you're going through this kind of flatlining at the moment. It will pass because it always does. It always does. And remember, every negative thought is just like a dark cloud over our heads. But it's a cloud, and clouds pass, don't they? No cloud is permanent. No cloud has ever stayed in the same place. Clouds move, and so do moods. Moods move. And so when you are down in the dumps a little bit, look forward to when you won't be and say, this is how it is now, but it won't be always so, because I have a fire in my belly. I have the light and the power and the fire of spirit within me, and that will never desert me or let me be. It will never let me be in less than I am. It will always, always, always call me higher. So what is it going to be, my dear ones? Yes, in our homes we can do this. Wherever we are, we can do this because we're not doing anything. We are being who we are. We're blessing. We're blessing. We're blessing everything and everyone. We're sending out vibes, energy of blessing, blessing and blessing and more blessing. Blessed be each and every one of us, my dear. That's your calling. That's my calling. Can you imagine if all of us are doing it together? The power of that energy, the power of that light, the power of that fire. This girl is on fire. This man is on fire. We're always on fire. Would you believe it? Especially when we're crawling on our last legs. We're still on fire. So be the light. Be the fire. Invite it. Come, Holy Spirit of light and fire. Drive me into the goodness of myself, into the lovingness of myself, into the givingness of myself, and let me serve. I know we can. And so it is.